The moment I stepped through the front door of my childhood home, a chill crawled up my spine as I felt the weight of their stares, the unspoken judgment hanging thick in the air. Those familiar walls, now draped in shadows of memory, echoed with laughter that had once turned to scorn. "You're chasing ghosts, Alex," my brother had yelled, a mocking grin etched across his face. "You'll end up a lunatic. What's next? Talking to rats?" 3 years had passed since my life had spiraled into chaos, a chaos ignited by the horrors I had dared to uncover. After I had exposed the cover-up of a mutant rat outbreak, the city officials had scapegoated me, leaving me to rot in a sea of shame and disbelief. I had been ostracized, branded as a madman, driven from my profession and family. Yet while they had laughed, I had delved into the ancient texts of occult verminology, where I unearthed secrets about rat-born curses that the world desperately wished to ignore. In the dimly lit living room, my parents sat together, their faces lined with weariness. They looked older, but their expressions hardened as they recognized me. I had returned, not as the disgraceful son they had disowned, but as a figure cloaked in the unsettling aura of knowledge that they had deemed a delusion. "Alex," my mother said, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and disbelief. "What are you doing here?" The air crackled with tension as I held their gaze. There was no need for pleasantries. I could feel the dread radiating off them. I had come to show them the truth, and they would see it. "I'm here to talk about what I've learned," I began, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions brewing inside me. "You said I was insane. You told me I'd disgrace our family. But I've uncovered something that you need to understand." As I spoke, I felt the energy shift, a palpable unease that settled heavily upon their shoulders. I pulled out an old tattered book, its pages filled with notes and sketches depictions of grotesque mutant rats intertwined with symbols of ancient curses. This was no mere obsession. It was a grim testament to the reality that lay beneath the surface of our world. "You think this is just folklore? Just stories?" I pressed on, feeling the shadows close in around us. "These creatures aren't just pests. They're carriers of something much darker, something that has been lurking beneath the city, festering through the ages." My father scoffed, but there was no bite in his laughter this time. "You're talking nonsense, Alex. This is just a phase. You're not a scientist. You're not even a pest inspector anymore." I leaned in closer, and my voice dropped to a whisper, heavy with the weight of the truth. "They're awakening. The curses are real. They've been unleashed. And it's only a matter of time before they come for you." As the last word faded into the silence, the room seemed to shudder. A low rumble echoed from the depths of the earth, a sound that reverberated through the walls like the growl of a beast long slumbering. My family exchanged nervous glances, their disbelief fracturing under the pressure of reality. "Maybe we should," my mother began, but the words choked in her throat. Suddenly, the lights flickered, plunging the room into darkness. I heard a scuttling noise in the shadows, a sinister scratching that sent icy tendrils of fear racing down my spine. My heart pounded as I pulled out a small vial from my pocket, an elixir I had created, a potent mix of herbs and ancient incantations meant to repel the very curses I had studied. "Stay back!" I shouted, but my family remained frozen, their eyes wide with terror. The scratching intensified, and from the corner of my vision, a shape emerged, a grotesque, mutated rat, its eyes glinting with a malevolent intelligence. Time seemed to stretch as it crawled toward us, its body twisted and malformed, whispering of the horrors I had only glimpsed in my research. I could feel the air grow thick with dread, a tangible force pressing in on us. My family's faces drained of color as the realization washed over them. This was no longer a joke. This was the consequence of their ridicule. "Alex, please," my father pleaded, his bravado shattered. "You can't let this happen." But it was too late. The shadows danced, and the rat lunged, but I was ready. I hurled the vial, and the elixir exploded in a burst of shimmering light, enveloping the creature in a protective barrier. It shrieked, the sound echoing like the cries of the damned, before vanishing into the darkness, banished at least for now. The silence that followed was pregnant with horror and disbelief. My family, once so quick to mock, now stood trembling in the aftermath of the truth they had scorned. I could see the horror etched in their eyes. They were witnessing the darkness I had faced, the knowledge I had gathered, and the very real threat that had been unleashed. "Now do you understand?" I whispered, my voice hoarse. "I'm no longer the disgrace. I'm the one who survived." As I turned to leave, I could feel their eyes boring into me, the weight of their regret heavy in the air. I walked away, leaving them to confront the shadows of their disbelief. My heart ached. Not for their acceptance, but for their realization that they had mocked what they could never comprehend. I stepped outside, the cool night air embracing me like a shroud. I had become something more than I had ever envisioned, an unyielding guardian against the darkness that so many choose to ignore. And as I looked back one last time, I understood that vindication was not just in survival, but in the haunting legacy I now carried. A dark crown forged in the fires of ridicule and rebirth.